Well, what happens on Friday is that we're going to perform live music written by Charles Chaplin for his own film, City Lights. And it's quite a unique experience because it's something that we call live cinema. Chaplin was an amazing artist in the fact that he could visualize these images from his brain, create these things, create the film, the story, produce it, find the money for it, and besides all that, compose the music himself. And that's a miracle to me. He's one of the truly great cinematic minds of all time. But musically, I think that he was very strong. I always like to say that Charlie Chaplin was the greatest composer in the world for Charlie Chaplin films. Nobody knew his characters better, and no one could ever write music as good as he could for his own films. Impression is that, first of all, I think that they don't really quite expect it to sound like that, because we as I told them from the very start, that I'm going to make you not play like your parents, but really more like your grandparents, you know? And if not, there's so many young people now that I have to actually start using the term great-grandparents, because there's so many generations removed from when this type of music was played in the style in which it was written. But I have to remind them, of course, that all the musicians in Hollywood in the 1930s, I mean, at least the string players, were all Austro-Hungarian immigrants anyway. So, I mean, you have to go back. It's a very strange combination to ask them to play something that's a lineage that had been essentially broken, but then come around again. Living in Europe now for the last 15 years. And so to make that reconnection of again, is a great feeling. So I have to remind them that we're looking to play in this style, which is a very unique time period that is not taught in conservatories anymore. So my first impression from the first rehearsal is just, they're like, oh wow, I've heard recordings of people playing like this, but I've never actually got to do it. And I'm seeing lots of smiles, of course. It's quite a hard piece to play. It's not only difficult in terms of stylistic, but it's actually physically a difficult piece. And we're playing for almost 90 minutes without break. We've got about 132 tempo changes. So it's quite tricky, but we're having a great time so far.